Hey everyone, welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Marlene. I'm with Room to Bloom, and I want to bring forth a message for you today. And we're going to start with a deck called the Empath Activation Cards. I'm just kind of getting messages about inner peace and holding on to that. And sometimes sometimes you don't even know that you're an empath. It takes a while to fully realize that. And there are different types of empaths. But sometimes being an empath without knowing it, your peace might get thrown off. But once you really tune in and realize that you are, you start to better manage it. Just like it were anything else in your life, now you understand it, so you know how to work with it, right? So we're going to go ahead and start with this deck again about empath activation. Let's see what comes up for you that would be helpful for you on your journey today. Okay, the card we have is a solar initiation. Okay, so this deck is fairly new to me, and these cards are quite profound is the word. I want to just hold that up so you can look at like the symbols in there. There's a variety of symbols all coming out from the sun. And what's coming to me is like when you hear people speak about receiving downloads, right? So we can get information all sorts of ways. All sorts of ways, right? So signs and symbols and such, patterns. So let's just go ahead and read this one and see what this one says here. Okay, beloved star child, you are being called home to the light. No, not in death, but in life. You are made of light, and your crystalline codes have been activated by the central solar sun, calling you forward into solar initiation. Quite literally, the switch has been flipped, and your brightness can no longer be dimmed. For you have reached the critical time when it would take more energy to keep your blossom tightly closed than to let it unfurl and bloom. I'm getting feedback here. Okay, so this channel is called A Room to Bloom, right? So this is like that understanding of it. Now, instead of holding tightly within, it's like bloom. It's time to blossom, right? It is robbing you of precious life force and keeping you from riding the natural flow of cosmic waves. These waves are waiting to take you easily, gracefully to your holy destiny. Initiate of the light, stand tall in the sun and beam your brilliance into the cosmos. Your soul is being summoned into full manifestation. The central sun of your great solar system is vital for life on planet Earth, providing beneficial electromagnetic frequencies that feed and sustain all life forms. This magnificent Helios provides the gravitational field that ushers the rhythm and flow of the world as you know it through cycles of day and night, the seasons, moon cycles, and the tides. Your DNA structure is in partnership with the celestial powerhouse in an ancient dance of growth and decay, expansion and remission, rebirth and death, and rebirth again. Human consciousness has reached a point of quantum expansion. In this state, it has regained access to long-hidden wisdom and universal mysteries. These mysteries have been held in trust in the morphic field of Gaia until the collective frequency of humanity has attained the appropriate reactivational vibration. Your central sun is now beaming high-frequency light codes to the energy receiving station in your heart, literally turning on your heart light. Isn't that beautiful? As the sun's gravitational field acts upon the planets and draws them into orbit, the gravity of your energy field through thought forms, words, intentions, perceptions, and action draws all possibility to you in the quantum field. More than just attraction, you are the co-creator. You are a co-creator with the universe. You are gaining momentum. And in the arc of your life's path, graduating into mastery level apprenticeship with the spiritual laws of the cosmos. One of those laws is that the universe is a projection of your perception. In this accelerated solar initiation, you are being asked to surrender to the truth of who you are. Your creative imagination is how the cosmic mind imagines the world into being. You truly are divine. Your perception of the universe evokes the universe you observe. At each and every moment, you are a partner, the dreamer dreaming the dream. Dearest one, to walk through the initiatory portal, there is really nothing to do. It has its own timing, which is aligned with your highest good. Just as a mother does not actively control the growth of the fetus in her womb, you do not need to worry about managing the activities of light unfolding in your energy body. Your job is to manage you through loving self-care, rest, and time spent in reflection and integration. Tending to the health of your energy field and mental emotional state are paramount. Everything you do can gently heal past wounds, release old traumas, and educate yourself about higher spiritual principles. Educating yourself about higher spiritual principles will help you your transformation progress more smoothly. It takes more effect to row against the current than to flow within to the direction of the stream. Flow, beloved, flow. Although your solar initiatory portal has opened, your initiation, in fact, does not end. This is not meant to alarm you, but it is to reassure you. A set of cosmic evolutionary tumblers have clicked into place, unlocking your 5-dimensional and higher bodies. This solar induction is an ongoing process that will continue through death, through coming incarnations, and long into the future. It is an initiation of the soul experienced in human form. Dormant sequences of sophisticated light codes are being actuated at the soul level, creating a cascade effect into the projection of your 3D human self. This process is happening worldwide. At the great central sun, as the great central sun is now activating many forerunning souls. It is written in your solar blueprint that you chose to be a pioneer of a new human consciousness. Your presence on this planet is a blessing, and it has great significance. Shine on, shining ones. I have goosebumps, right? So it's really beautiful. The colors in it are just like cheerful. It feels like a birthday party, doesn't it, when you look at that? Okay, so we're just going to set this aside right now, and I'm going to tap into a deck here called the Sunflower Plants Spirit Oracle by Lisa Esterbrook, and see what comes up here. These are kind of fun. They remind me, I was just speaking about, and actually I said 3 wishes, like the dandelion weed that you blow on. I just took a picture of it tonight. I don't know what they're called. But anyway, let's see. What would you like to show us for the collective? Okay, inspiration. So we have the purple iris. It encourages you to cultivate the beauty within so you can better create and express in the world around you. Her deeply restorative energy helps revitalize your connection to divine guidance, helping you to discover your true passions and allowing inspiration and creativity to flow. Now, when I first got this deck, it was right around the time when Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani released a song called, I believe it's called Purple Iris. So it was kind of funny that comes up. But purple represents our intuition, and then there is yellow in here about standing in your power with what it is that you'd like to create as you are being inspired, right? Okay, what else? Milk thistle. It speaks about forgiveness. Oh, I just took a picture of this too. Today I took a walk and there was this huge bush. I took a picture of it the other day, but the one I walked by today was huge. Now, you think that this isn't a sign, right? Forgiveness. Okay. So life has taught you to protect yourself, but sometimes in the end you end up hurting yourself. Milk thistle helps you to let go through the power of forgiveness of all the self-imposed restrictions and defense armor that are making it hard for you to open and receive all the love and abundance the universe has flowing towards you. So just being called to continue to open your heart and have forgiveness there. I read something else about forgiveness this morning. Not really sure where it is right now. Lavender, that was also on this walk. Restoration, right? So here's the image of it. So we have purple across all three of the flowers are purple. Okay. Lavender's restorative and purifying energy and aroma calms and uplifts your mind and your body, easing feelings of stress and agitation from your earthly distractions and rejuvenating your soul so that you can truly feel radiant, inner peace, and harmony. So another way to find balance and peace. I'm going to take a couple more and then I'm going to read something else here. Okay, what else do we have? Forget me not. Awareness. Okay. I just picked some of these up today. So that's kind of interesting. Forget me not wants to raise your awareness of your connections, not just to loved ones, but to all beings in all realms, including yourself. And when you can understand this connection, you can let go of the fears of loneliness, isolation, and separation, because you realize the true immortal nature of your divine soul. And you know what I'm noticing about these forget-me-nots is there's blue, but then there's some that are purple as well. So we have yet again that continuance in here. Okay, and we're going to go ahead with one last card, Speedwell, and it speaks about insight. So I would say purple yet again, a little bit of a blue to it, but mostly purple. Speaks about insight. Life seems to speed by. Bird Eye Speedwell helps you to slow down, to be patient, and to become aware of the bigger picture. She shares her grounding energy so that the ego cannot get in the way of true insight, and facilitates true healing by expanding the conscious beyond personal beliefs and conditioning. One of the things that a person can do is when you're checking in with yourself, if you will. If you hear yourself say, I think, before you say something, often, So if someone asks for your advice, let's say, and you always say, well, I think this and I think that, you may be being encouraged to drop into your heart space and start with the words, I feel. Because that's when we're really tapping into our other senses, right? Instead of I think and we're in our head space, we're dropping more into our heart space and I feel. It's a resonance, it's a soul resonance. And you might find it a different way to describe what you are experiencing, and that feels like insight, right? Okay, now we're going to go on to a deck called The Soul's Journey. What would you like to tell us here? These are by James Van Praagh. Okay, what messages do you have here? That'd be helpful to know for the collective. Abundance. Okay. I am a limitless being, and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality, right? So the ability to manifest that's what you desire, and that could come right from that which inspires you. So being aware of what you are manifesting from, what space are you in, what are you vibrating at, because if you're manifesting when you're in a lower vibration, that's what you'll wind up with, right? So this is encouraging you to manifest from a higher vibration. Okay, under the milk thistle, forgiveness, tell us about this, please. We have acceptance. So under that, forgiveness. Now the thing that's coming to me too is because they are showing two of these here. So there could be a situation where it's like forgiving another person. Acceptance. I am learning to accept the things that I cannot change. Ooh, yeah. Okay. And so could that be, that is the serenity prayer, right? And most people are aware of the fact that that is something that is used with like in a treatment program, a 12-step treatment program. Okay, what else do we have? Under restoration, we have envy. I am the same as everybody else, but with different challenges, right? So envy comes up in a couple of different ways. Someone may see that you have been restoring yourself and feel envious, but it also raises the question, are you seeing that in another end, or have you been envious, right? To heal the envious, just understand, just read this yesterday as well, that it was even this morning, I think, that no one is better than another. We're just simply different, and that's it. We're just simply different. So envy can just go out the window, right? Forget me not, awareness. Okay, what do we have? We have blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being. I'm going to go back to the forget-me-nots. Wants to raise your awareness of your connections, not just your loved ones, but to all beings in all realms. I accept responsibility for my well-being, right? So we can let go of fears and loneliness and isolation and separation because we now realize the immortal truth of our divine soul. Okay. All right, tell us about this insight card here. What would you like to tell us about this with Speedwell? Adversity. I accept the challenge. I accept that challenges are the best way to learn, which is interesting because that falls under insight, right? And sometimes that's what we need to have to realize that it is exactly that, where when we have adversity, we have challenges, and what do we work to do? We work to move through them, to rise above them, and to become the highest and best version of ourselves. But when we are becoming aware of ourself and our actions and such, right? We might become aware that maybe we've run away from adversity or challenges, or we've swept certain things under the rug that we didn't want to deal with. But when we become aware of them and we understand that they are, we gain insight to say, yes, we learn from the challenges that we have been going through. We grow through our challenges, right? Or grow through adversity. Okay, yes, I will split this. Okay, here's guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist me in my soul's growth. So if you have been carrying guilt, that is not assisting you in your soul's growth. So it's like just choosing to release that, not flippantly, but humbly, right? Humbly. It, and moving past it, realizing that there was a lesson here, right? Three things that I'm looking at in this swirl, okay? So, like what I'm seeing in this, it's almost like a tunnel, okay? Communication, mixed with joy. It can be joy and passion. The red can represent the passion. The orange is our joy center. But the red can also represent our basic needs, right? So communicate what your basic needs are as far as your joy, and trust your intuition, which would be representative of the purple. If you have had some guilt about this area, about communication with any of this, it's just time to let it go, right? It is not, guilt is not assisting you in your soul's growth. All right. I wasn't planning on looking at this, but I did. In the next card here was growth. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. And so, again, that guilt is not going to help in that, okay? Anytime you're feeling guilt. All right, I'm going to go to the Energy and Spirit Oracle. Okay, so I just dropped the top of this box and it landed with the pink in, the pink is inside. So pink is representative of healing. Like you've been doing the inner healing work is what this says to me. You've been doing the inner healing work, like really doing the work. And it's like, it's not a bunch of different colors. It's like you've really been focusing on that. Okay, Energy and Spirit Oracle by Sandra Ann Taylor. What would you like to tell us here? What messages do you want to bring forth here? Your eternal spirit, your higher self, and your sacred intuition. Now I'm going to use the book on this one, but I'm going to take a couple more cards before I use the book. Thought vibrations. Resonant choices, signature signals. Okay, so this falls under the forgiveness card. So this is one way that you can put that energy into the universe, is to think, feel, and embody forgiveness. And you put this vibration out into the universe. All right. Okay. Under restoration and envy, we have currents of emotion, uncontrolled feelings, restoration. So where it feels like a storm of emotion comes up, right? The water represents our emotions. And so rather than trying to outrun a storm, if we sit through the storm for a while and we feel our feelings, they move through us. And then we feel better, right? But like uncontrolled feelings, I definitely had some come up yesterday. Kind of moving through like a situation, and but again, these, there's just a situation that it's like it's like having to release some emotion, right? So you have currents of emotion. Think about when you plug in one thing too many, right? And then what happens? The power goes out, right? And so what do? You kind of take a rest and you recharge. All right, what else do we have here? Under the forget-me-nots awareness, we have divine presence, the force of love and creation. Not just to loved ones, but to all beings. Again, wants you to raise your awareness of your connections, not just to loved ones, but to all beings. So, that would be animals, like being that divine presence wherever you are, right? Embodying that and exuding that, the force of love and creation. Like being a conduit for that energy to move through you, right? Okay, what else do we have? Under insight and adversity, we have up from the depths. So this gal is moving up the stairs now towards the light. She's coming up from the challenging parts. She's releasing the difficulty. She's gaining insight through the adversity that she went through, right? And she's coming up above. She's coming out of this on the higher side. Now, I wanted to read this part on your eternal spirit, which fell under inspiration. That's the one I wanted to read from the book. People often define themselves according to the restrictions of their human bodies and mental and emotional patterns. They rarely focus on the unlimited power and the value of their spirit. But if this is your approach, it only limits your happiness and your experience of value in the world. This card heralds a time of great spiritual value. You are at a point where you can finally awaken to the full and ever-present power of your eternal spirit. This very real side of you preceded your present self, going all the way back to divine consciousness, right? Which is like, even, here we have divine presence, right? Meditate on the sacred intuition of your inner voice and that radiant wisdom that it brings. Let go of limitation and commune with your perfect sacred identity. The more you turn to the eternal spirit within, the more truth, beauty, and blessings will adorn your life. The affirmation is, my eternal spirit guides me in everything I do, with the unlimited value, power, and deserving of my soul. So, a very lovely message for that. I think I'm going to wrap this up with a reading from Moments of Peace in the Presence of God. And I had opened it up. Not sure if you can see that. I'm not sure I have a emoji thing up on my screen. Anyway, it says, enduring peace. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. That's Psalm 119, 165. It says, the starry grandeur of a midsummer night, the gentle gurgle of a languid river, the majestic stillness of the desert vista, the rolling wave of unharvested grain, the cleansing rain on a warm day. These are but a few of the natural expressions of peace and constancy that God has placed in the world. In times of turmoil and distress, like that current of emotion here, right? You can find moments of comfort and solace by gazing at the ageless beauty of snow-capped mountains or by walking along a shell-strewn beach. For a while, you enjoy the sense of peace. You hope that when you return to your everyday life, the peace you find will remain with you. God alone can offer you lasting peace. Only He can establish that lasting peace in your heart, right? So stepping again out of our head. Emotions is simply energy in motion, right? It is energy that we are feeling intensely. And so this particular one is representing intense emotions, right? Sometimes we're going to have energy move through us that isn't that intense. Sometimes it's going to be more intense. But this is when we recognize, like, what do people do when they know a storm is coming? They sort of batten down, right? They prepare. So you might be feeling some sort of way. You might be feeling off and not really know why. Moon phases can make you feel certain ways. So if you're just kind of feeling out of sorts, it's okay to set everything else down and say, I know what I need right now. And I don't need to create more chaos in my life. I don't need to take more information in. I need to clear the clutter of the busy mind, clear the schedule a bit, say no to maybe a number of things, clear the calendar a bit, and start stepping back from all of the busyness and or a lot of people that are pulling at you, right? And so that you don't have this coming up more and more often because you haven't even had time to possibly process some emotions, right? And that's what we tend to do many times in our human experiences. We just keep piling stuff on, because if we do that, then we might not have to deal with our emotions, right? But eventually those layers start coming off, or a moon phase will come on by, right? And it's like, hey, what's still there? What's still there that you haven't processed yet? Let's take a look, right? Or, we'll call this up right now. And so it's like, it's time to just love yourself and choose peace. Choose to set stuff down and say, the saying is coming to me when people go, walk away, right? Just walk away from things and say, okay, I can revisit this later when I am in a better place. Maybe after I've released some of the emotions, or I have processed some of the emotions. Maybe when I have stepped into forgiveness. Maybe when I've given myself the grace of restoration, or when I have either stopped blaming myself or another, right? Yeah, I'm feeling some emotion with that. So, you're being called to step into acceptance of yourself and where you are on your journey. Even if there has been some blame, stepping away and saying, I know that forgiveness is for me to just feel better, right? It's to feel better. And yes, does it help another person? Of course. But it's just taking one step at a time. Just felt like there was one more thing I wanted to say. Oh, there was. Yeah. So I wanted to pull a couple of charms. Let's see what comes up here. That would be helpful. So, whoop. Well, this one wanted to jump right out, which is interesting because it goes right back to the first card. I did that again with the emojis. Okay, so it is the lotus flower, which is exactly that. The solar initiation is saying it takes more work to be within, and or like the lotus flower in the mud. It's like saying, come out and bloom, right? Come out and bloom. So you're being called to do that as a double confirmation. We'll take it. I've got two here. So the first one is faith. Have faith in yourself, right? I don't know if you can see that all right. it's kind of a little bit. Have faith in yourself and faith in general, right? It goes a long way. And because right now you are being given grace and also offering that same grace to others who might be going through something. And we don't always know what people are going through, right? Maybe people get snappy or people get they're short fused, but the more we ask questions, the more they get frustrated because they're just simply tired and they just want some rest. So it's just having grace for others, right? All right, and then what do we have? We have a B here, right? So you're being called to, well, this actually might be the queen bee, but either, be a part of something, right? Or others are working for you, right? Others are working for you to help you. Okay, and one more. Okay, we have a pearl, right? So that pearl within. Think about the clam. Is there something that you kind of clammed up about? But you have pearls of wisdom, right? The pearls are formed over time, right? It doesn't just happen in a day. So pearls of wisdom is what is coming through to me. And it's coming through to me with this card because of these colors I was talking about. And it's like this tunnel. It's like you learned something, but through that, I don't know, maybe there was some guilt that another person is feeling, but they may have been trying to get your pearls of wisdom, if you will, without your permission. So that's what's coming. I don't know, I'm being guided to take another one here. Okay. I don't know if you can see this. Could you hear the knocking on my ceiling? Okay, it's Mother Mary. I had that earlier today, the knocking on my ceiling, which I've had before, but interesting. I have an airplane. And what does an airplane do? Sees things from a higher perspective. Okay, so I think that with that knocking on my ceiling, we're just going to let this reading be wrapped up. I want to say thank you for joining me. I hope that you have a very good day. Again, we really opened up with a beautiful card here about the soul initiation. So just remember that we're always growing, we're always blooming, expanding, and that's what you are being called to do instead of to fight the process of holding small. It's like, okay, right? So anyway, thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Take care.